Shout out Nick Crowley, YouTube's darkest videos, 8. What's up with you, Nick? How you been, bruh? I saw this boy uploaded a video.
It was 2:46 p.m. when the ground began to shake.
Damn! Nah, get on. That shit low-key shook my screen.
For residents of Anagawa, Japan, earthquakes were nothing new, but this one was different.
Oh my gosh!
It carried with it a violence that none of the locals had ever felt before, and by the time the shaking had stopped, everyone in the city seemed to be left in a momentary state of shock. This was especially true for the nearly 160 Chinese workers and students that had recently moved to the area, with most having never experienced any earthquake, let alone one of this magnitude. Of these workers were a tight-knit group of 20 women, who had recently been hired as trainees at a company called Sato Tsunami, a company that sold fresh seafood. And having been at work at the time of the quake, they frantically ran out of the building and stood in the street desperately trying to figure out what to do next, unaware of the fact that
going into the street when an earthquake is happening is crazy work. I mean, I understand you've never been in an earthquake before, but don't they teach that shit? Going outside is probably like the last thing you should do.
Real horrors were still yet to come. In Japan, it's not just the earthquakes you have to worry about, but the tsunamis that often follow. And usually, the bigger the earthquake, the bigger the wave. And given that Anagawa was right on the sea, and Sato Tsunami was directly on the shoreline, these women were now standing directly in the path of an impending disaster.
Oh my gosh.
Thankfully, their boss, Mitsuru Sato, was well aware of what was to come, and quickly he yelled to the women to seek higher ground. But given their unfamiliarity with the area, Sato knew that he would have to be the one to lead them there. The group readily listened, and they quickly followed Sato as he led them up a set of stairs on a nearby hill, where they eventually reached a shrine that overlooked Anagawa.
Bro, you know what's crazy? I was thinking about moving to Japan at some point in my life, and I forgot all about tsunamis, bro.
Gawa and the sea. It was the highest
every place has disasters, natural disasters, but tsunamis, bro? Drowning?
Area, and should keep them safe from what would likely be a massive influx of water. And sure enough, as they neared the top, Sato's fears were already coming true. As the sea had drastically retreated, it was now beginning to push forward, and things were only going to get worse from here. But despite understanding this, it wasn't a deterrent for Sato, as once he deemed the altitude safe enough for this group of women, he then turned around and began to walk back down the hill towards the slowly flooding city. The girls yelled at him, asking where he was going.
Oh! No!
Which is when he revealed that down below in his home in Anagawa were his wife and his daughter, who were now directly in the path of this unfolding disaster.
Oh no.
And he was going to save them. The girl screamed out to him, begging him not to go, as things had already become incredibly dangerous. But he
mans though, go save your wife and child, but dang, bruh. This is crazy.
Didn't so much as turn his head as he stepped down onto the street and disappeared.
Aura. I'm sorry, but Aura, bro. That boy is getting told, don't go. That boy didn't even look back. He said, I'm going for my kids and my wife. Aura. Okay.
From their view. And it was at this time that one of those girls standing high atop the hill began to record.
Oh no. Oh, Nick. What a way to start.
All my life, family has been super important to me. I love my family, but I also realized I don't know much about them, at least outside of my family members, and specifically my...
Get your bag, Nick. I thought this video was fake because the last video from before this was only 3 weeks ago. Nick usually takes like a month or longer to upload these videos. I thought this shit was fake. I'm still late though. I'm like 2 days late. Hope y'all still tune in though.
The footage shows that the shoreline was no more, as the water had inundated the entire area as it slowly crept its way deeper and deeper into the city streets.
So did they... Please tell me they didn't record this boy getting washed away.
The women were understandably in a panic, trying to make sense of this ordeal that they were now given a front row seat to. And as they record, we can hear them desperately calling out for Sato. But at no point do we see him. We just know that he's down there, somewhere. And as the desperation in their pleas increases, so too does the fury of the water.
Wow, bruh. Ooh, tsunamis are so scary, bro. Flooding in general is scary. I think it was a Nick Crowley video that was talking about that one guy who like took a picture and then died in a flood or something like that. And something about like, I just want to get back home to my kids, and he died in a flood. I think that was a Nick Crowley video too. That drowning is something, man. Is that people on like a life raft?
They could only watch as Anagawa, as they knew it, was completely eviscerated.
Shut out your rage. Holy.
And by this point, they realized that there was now essentially no hope for Sato. It was at this time that the women realized that despite already being at a considerable height, it still might not be enough, and so they ran even higher up the hill, desperately trying to get out of the path of this water.
What's this one called? Mitsuru Sato. Oh wait, no, that's just the guy.
And as they did so, they noticed something down below.
Oh, don't tell me it's his body.
Standing on a rooftop in the middle of this massive tsunami was Mitsuro Sato.
Bro!
The building that he stood on was once a full 2 stories off the ground, but was now just a few inches above the surface of the water.
Is this the home?
The women again call out to him, this time even more frantically, but at this point, it was no use. And when the camera is taken off Sato for just a split second, we can hear just from the women's reaction the exact moment that he swept away.
Oh my gosh, bro, this is crazy. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Oh my goodness.
The recording stops shortly after and restarts minutes later,
wow,
revealing that the streets where the women had been standing just moments before were now fully underwater, and the buildings that once stood around them were now reduced to nothingness. In front of them was a sea of death, and had Mitsuro Sato not led them up that hill, then all of these women would have certainly been a part of it.
No, but that's real though. That's real though. If my wife and kid can't live, then I can't live either, bro. If my wife and kid are in a natural disaster, I'm going down there with them. I'm sorry, like, bro, there's something about like you just gotta go with your I don't know how to describe it, bro. There's just something about it, bro. I wouldn't feel right as a person knowing that I led all these people to safety except the people that I care about. I know it's selflessness, but still at the end of the day, it's just like, I don't know.
Date was March 11th, 2011, a day where Japan had been hit by its most devastating earthquake ever, with it ringing in at a magnitude 9.0,
Damn.
Which in turn caused the nation's worst ever tsunami, as that day, 19,759 people would lose their lives.
You know what's crazy? I think I heard about the tsunami. I think everybody knows about the tsunami. I just didn't know it was 19,000 people, almost 20. That's a lot of people.
Mitsuro Sato being one of them. But against all odds, his wife and daughter were not part of that death toll, as it's been reported that they were later found alive and unharmed. The devastation that occurred.
Oh, man. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I couldn't imagine. I can't imagine how his wife and child feel, bro. Knowing that he saved these women, and then knew that they were in danger, went down to go find them and get them out of this tsunami, and then ended up dying, and they ended up living. That is like, I mean, he still died for a good cause. He was going down to save his wife and his child, but like they were already safe. That's shit, bro. That's fucking, oh my god, bro. That's pulling on heartstrings, bro. That's fucked up, bro.
That day is
trash
incomprehensible. And all the footage of this disaster could warrant a place in this video, especially the footage of Anagawa, as you can see what it looked like before, during,
And after.
and after.
Dog. Did they
But what I
rebuild
found so
Anagawa?
Interesting about this was all throughout this disaster were stories like Sato's, a man who risked his life to save 20 women that he hardly knew, and a man who gave his life trying to save his family, walking directly into the path of the worst natural disaster in modern Japanese history, all in an attempt to save the ones that he loved.
Yep.
And I honestly find it quite beautiful that afterwards, these women adamantly shared his story and made sure that the world forever remembered Mitsuru Sato as the hero that he was. And of those 160 Chinese migrants who worked in the area, it was later reported that not a single one of them perished, which speaks volumes about the people of Anagawa, who so readily put others' lives before their own.
Oh, that's, wow.
Fire marshal is investigating a blaze in Georgetown. 2 people found dead.
W
inside the
Japan,
home.
bro. Like I said, bro, I've always wanted to live in Japan, but like I can't do tsunamis, bro. I can't do tsunamis. I cannot do the potential of drowning. I can't do it. Drowning is the only way of dying that I just cannot do, bro. You can kill me in any other way. Drowning is just, nah, bro. You're choking on your own fucking.
And so far, it's not known how
You're just choking to death, bro, on water.
It was just past 5:30 a.m. on the 17th of February 2021 when residents of a small neighborhood in Georgetown, Ontario were woken by the sound of sirens blaring. One man frantically grabbed his cell phone and rushed outside to record the unfolding scene.
Any slow death, really, but like the thing about drowning is like your insides are like dying and then you die. It's like, oh my, I can't, bro. I can't.
With a horrific sight.
That's so much pain.
His neighbor's home was fully engulfed in flames. It must have happened quickly, as by the time rescue workers even arrived on the scene, there was already little hope of saving the house, or any of its occupants. It would take hours before that blaze was finally quelled, revealing the charred devastation inside, as firefighters would find the remains of 56-year-old...
fire damage? That should look like snow and ice.
Christina Rirak and 59-year-old Andrew Rirak within the home's garage. The cause of this fire was initially unknown, but quickly the situation was deemed suspicious when experts determined that the fire had started as a result of some sort of explosion that had happened within the garage where the couple's bodies were found.
Oh, that is ice.
This was later confirmed by security footage obtained from a neighbor who lived across the street, capturing the moments when it suddenly ignited around 5:27 a.m. There was clearly something off with this case, and things only became more sinister following the autopsies of Andrew and Christina, which revealed that they hadn't actually died in that fire, and instead, both of them had been stabbed to death.
Ooh. Ooh. Somebody killed them and then set the shit on fire so that it would be like, oh, they just died. Oh my.
With Andrew also being badly beaten.
Damn.
This fire wasn't started to kill them. It was started to cover up their murder.
Exactly.
And it did a good job of it too, as the scene was now left completely destroyed, with very little evidence being left behind.
But it says he was charged with murder and arson.
But there was something else investigators thought to check. That's security footage. The camera had been facing the garage where all of this carnage seemed to have happened, and so they thought maybe if they looked back far enough...
But... what do they call what Dexter does, bro? What do they call that shit? Forensics. Sorry, y'all. I just could not find the word. Forensics, though. They would have saw that time of death was not 5 a.m. It was a little bit before then.
It could at the very least show what had led up to this brutal attack.
First 24
and so
hours.
they rewound that footage, going back hours and hours, during all of which the garage had remained perfectly still, until they got all the way back to 6:42 of the day prior, February 16th.
Nah, you killed him 2 days in advance? This is eerie as shit.
The film showed the moments that the couple had arrived home together inside of Christina's car, which Andrew had been driving that night,
Tessie.
as he pulled uneventfully into the garage. This was the last time this couple was seen alive on camera, which on its own is disturbing enough. But as it turns out, there was something far more unsettling about this footage, as it revealed the fact that Christina and Andrew weren't alone.
Did you hear that, bro? Okay, my girl told me last time that sometimes when I say, do y'all hear that? Y'all can't hear it because sometimes you're listening on phones or TVs, whatever the case is. But like, bro, the music said, ew. That shit was crazy, bro. W sound design. Yo. And like, you know, the craziest part about this is that as a neighbor, you wouldn't even check this shit. You wouldn't even check this shit. And you know why? Because when you put a security camera out in your front yard, you're not checking for your neighbor's safety. You're checking for your own. Yes. Oh, that's crazy. They just got lucky enough that their house, like this, like, bro, look at how this is the top of the camera. They got lucky enough to where this is caught on the top of their camera. Imagine if this homeowner angled it just even a tiny bit more down. This would have never been caught. Wow, bro.
The footage showed a tall figure, its features completely shrouded in darkness, almost as if it were a shadow, with this figure lying in wait out of sight on the side of the house, until right after Andrew pulls the car into the garage, when this person slips in behind them. It's impossible to say for sure if the couple noticed this person or not, but it appears that they likely didn't, as they both start to exit the vehicle, to which the figure then ducks down in an attempt to avoid detection.
No way. Yo!
Until the garage door begins to slowly close.
Wait, so did no one leave out the right door? Am I tripping?
To avoid detection. Cool. To which the figure or not, but it appears that they likely didn't, as they both start
Oh my god, they both came out the left side.
to exit the vehicle, to which the figure then ducks
What are the
down
odds,
in an
bro?
attempt to avoid detection.
What was it for, bro? Was it for money?
Until the garage door begins to slowly close.
Then we don't know what happens.
Either Christina or Andrew would make it out of that garage alive, as just seconds after this footage, they both would be brutally murdered by this unidentified person.
Wow.
The footage is terrifying and speaks to that innate fear in most of us, the fear of being followed, of being watched, and attacked in the moments where we least expect it. It's paranoia-induced.
Bro, I'm not saying I'm a paranoid individual, bro, but like, I'm observant as a mug, bro. I'm an observant ass dude, bro. I'm observant as hell. I'm always looking around. I'm always checking for shit. Always. I'd have to partly blame that on where and how I was raised, but I'm very observant. You'll never catch me slipping, bro. No, sir. I pay attention way too much
by the fact
to
that
my
this clearly
surroundings.
seemed to be premeditated.
Sometimes too
Whoever
much.
this was knew their schedule and had been waiting for them to arrive home, in a place where they knew they wouldn't be seen. But by this point, their motivation was as unknown as their identity. Following the discovery of this footage, bits and pieces were released to the press in order to get the public's help in identifying this unknown assailant. It represented a rare instance of a killer being clearly caught on camera right before committing a crime, but that's also what made this case so frustrating, as despite the video capturing this person, none of their features were discernible at all. Unsurprisingly, the footage didn't bring in any relevant leads, but it at the very least showed investigators that whoever this person was knew the couple, due to its obvious premeditation. Though when looking into both Andrew and Christina, it was clear that neither of them really had any enemies in their life.
That's usually how it happens. You feel like you don't have any enemies. It doesn't seem like you have any enemies, yet there's a nigga plotting on you to kill you, bro. It's insane.
Of one. Harrison Brown was a 27-year-old employee at a company called Rogue Transportations.
Knew it.
Of which Christina happened to be
I was
going to
say, maybe it was his freaking employee. Imagine killing your boss, bro. Relax. Relax, bro. Niggas hate their boss all the time. They hate their managers. This, that, and the third. But none of them decide to go kill them.
Of operations, and during his time there, Harrison was known to be abrasive and combative, with Christina often having to be the one to reprimand him, leading to Harrison resenting her. It isn't clear how police were tipped off.
I hate that shit, bro. You're a menace in the fucking, like, you're a menace in the workplace. Somebody has to come in and step in and do something about it, and then you hate them. Like, bro, it's your fault.
About this strained working relationship, but they had somehow grown suspicious enough of Harrison to pay his home a visit, and what they found inside showed that this resentment he had towards Christina had actually morphed into a twisted obsession. Inside, police found satellite images of the Rearx home, along with the software on the man's computer and cell phone that showed that on the 12th of February, he had secretly attached a tracking device to Christina's car. And he had been tracking her movements for days, which is precisely how he knew when she would be arriving home. And as if this revelation wasn't damning enough,
bro, if niggas put this much effort into getting jobs or pursuing their dreams, we would never have murderers, bro.
They would also find a broken knife in his garage.
You spent days learning her schedule just so that you could go kill her, when you could have spent those days looking for a new job, getting your craft up, getting your money up, finding some fucking bitches, touching, like, bro.
That contained trace amounts of Christina's blood. It was obvious what Harrison had done, and when confronted with this evidence, there was nothing more he could say other than the truth. So he admitted he had grown a hatred for Christina because of the way that she had treated him at work, and he decided that he needed to get his revenge. That's when he purchased this tracking device and began obsessing over her movements, studying them before finding the perfect time and place to strike. And on February 16th, he waited outside the Rearx home and snuck into their garage before attacking and killing them both. After the assault, Harrison would leave the home, where he began to grow paranoid about being caught, and so he returned to the house the very next morning.
You fucking idiot. You fucking idiot, bro. Look, bro, they always say the same thing. Murderers always return to the scene of the crime, but nigga, the next fucking day, you idiot, dude. You fucking idiot, bro. Didn't even. It's like Dexter, bro. He didn't weigh all of the possibilities of what could happen. He didn't think about all of the possibilities. There's cameras, this, that, and the third, and you still went back. You would have gotten away with it low key, because nobody knew your shit.
To start that fire, with the hopes being that the blaze would cover up his tracks. Though thankfully, this didn't work. And after pleading guilty to 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of arson,
what's up with you, dog?
Harrison Brown would be sentenced to life in prison.
Exactly. Good shit. Good shit. I'm glad they're not giving them the death penalty. Spend the rest of your life behind bars, nigga. I think the death penalty is such an easy out for niggas, because it's like, oh, I did this, and now I can just die. Who cares? Lethal injection, electric chair. No, suffer every single day for the rest of your life behind bars. I've been chilling, bro. I've been chilling. If I was on death penalty, I'd never be on death penalty because I don't commit crimes. Like I said, what you choosing? I'm not choosing nothing.
It's the eve of Thanksgiving, 2015. Police officer Patrick Feaster sits in his cruiser parked alongside the road in the town of Paradise, California, waiting for his first action of this uncharacteristically quiet night. His car was facing the direction of a well-known local cantina, which patrons were known to drive away from under the influence. And sure enough, well-known local cantina, which patrons were known to drive away from under the influence.
L bartender, not the same portion. L bartender, bro. Okay.
And sure enough, as the clock approached midnight,
the calmness around Feaster
would be shattered by the sight of a car speeding out of the restaurant's parking lot.
Whoever gets the second shot is is missing out, bro. Everybody else got more. I don't even drink, y'all. I don't drink or smoke. Okay, I got you, bro.
The car went unseen by Feaster's dashcam, but not by Feaster himself.
I'll be looking at
as he
my
took
TikTok
off,
DMs,
doing his
not gonna
best to
lie.
catch up with the car that was now speeding down the road. And within a few seconds, he does. As the car slowly comes into frame for the first time, inside that vehicle was 26-year-old Andrew Thomas and his ex-wife, 23-year-old Darian Aaron. Andrew had been drinking heavily that night and was well over the legal limit, with his driving showing as much as he failed to pull over once Feaster approached him, resulting in a police
ex-wife? What's she doing?
chase that would only end up lasting just a few seconds.
Oh, that boy crashed. Flip that bitch. He literally flipped it, bro. He literally flipped it. I just said it to say it. I didn't pre-watch. Y'all know I don't pre-watch. I do all my reactions completely blind reactions. I just said it. And the nigga actually flipped the car. He flipped it.
Rollover TC, east of
Did they fall out that shit?
Copy, rollover TC, east of Black Hollow.
Oh my god, they fell out the fucking car. Oh my god.
As Andrew would drive his car directly into a median, causing the SUV to flip over violently before coming to a halt on its side. In that instant, Darian was ejected from the vehicle, being thrown straight through the windshield and landing onto the asphalt, where, despite still being alive, her injuries were likely unsurvivable. But Andrew, on the other hand, was still inside the vehicle, and he seemed to have been left relatively unharmed.
I mean,
as perhaps being boosted by...
was she wearing a seatbelt? Oh my... Bro, I'll tell you one thing, bro. One, I'm not hopping in the car with a nigga who's been drinking and is clearly hammered. Nigga or woman. Two, if that even happens, which it won't, because I will fucking take the keys and drive my damn self. I don't care who car it is. Two, if that happens, which it fucking won't, seatbelt, and I'm holding on to the oh shit handle. Bro, Nick.
By adrenaline, he quickly tried to crawl his way out of the car in a desperate attempt to check on Darian, with Officer Feaster's dashcam capturing the entire ordeal. Though just as Andrew attempted to do so, we see Feaster step into the frame,
Bro.
where he suddenly draws his gun.
Bro, Feaster. I understand what you're doing, but at the same time, he's getting out to check on his wife. Clearly. He's getting out to check on the woman on the fucking floor. Instead of pointing your gun at him, how about you go apply some pressure on the lady's wounds over here and make sure she's alive? Sorry, y'all.
Where he suddenly draws his gun, and without saying a single word, fires 2 shots at Andrew.
My guy, what?
With one of the bullets appearing to strike him, causing his body to go limp as he falls back into the car. It happened in a literal instant, so fast that it's clear Feaster had most likely accidentally discharged his weapon, as there was no attempt at communication
Or intentionally.
before the shot was fired, with Andrew clearly posing no risk to him, as both of his hands were being used to hoist himself up. From the footage, this all seems to be a horrible accident, and one that Feaster seemed to recognize right away, as he rushed up to the car, pointing his flashlight at the man that he had just shot, staring at him for over 10 seconds, trying to make sense of what he had just done, before he finally snaps out of it, and uses his radio to call for backup. Though this is when this already dark video starts to become much more disturbing.
I've got an unresponsive female. I got a male in the car refusing to get out.
Feaster. Oh my gosh, Feaster. You do realize that you have a body cam and a dash cam that's going to oh my gosh, bro. A man refusing to get out after you just laid off 2 bullets into him?
When Feaster makes this call, he never mentions the shooting, and instead he states that the driver was—
That too, bro. Don't police officers have to say they shot something? Even if they hit nothing? Shots fired. Feaster, what the fuck, bro?
refusing to get out of the vehicle. This is then followed by Feaster walking away from the man and pointing his flashlight to the ground, almost as if he was looking for something.
Copy. Give your cross on Black Olive.
Pearson.
Copy. Black Olive and Pearson.
With some theorizing that he was looking for his shell casings. Though right then, another officer arrives on the scene and begins to survey the wreckage.
Oh
Just
boy.
her? No, there's a male in the car refusing to get out.
And you're gonna hold that shit? You're gonna hold that. You're gonna hold that, Feaster. A male in the car refusing to get out. What happens when he checks the car and sees blood all over this nigga with a bullet wound? What happens?
Where, again, Feaster says that Andrew was refusing to get out of the car, making no mention of the fact that he had just shot him. It's clear at this point what Feaster was trying to do.
Yes.
He was trying to cover up his accident, but this suddenly became more difficult when Andrew started to speak.
Ooh, what are you gonna do, Feaster? What are you gonna do, Feaster? You're gonna let off some more shots until I'm in front of these cops? These aren't your partners, bro. I'll tell you right now. These aren't your partners. They're not gonna keep your secret. These are not your partners. They're not gonna keep your secret. Because I know that's how it is in the police force. I mean, I don't know anyone specifically in the police force, but I knew people a long time ago. As your partner, even if your partner, as a partner, even if your mans do some really crazy shit, you cannot say nothing. That's just partner code, bro. That's just partner code, bro. It's actually crazy.
Okay, we got one. He's refusing to get out. Get out of the car, sir. You're not shot, sir. Get out of the car.
You're not
Andrew Thomas was still alive and had muttered to Feaster that he had been shot, but even to his face, Feaster denies it. Shortly after, Andrew then tries to tell the other cop what had happened.
Sir, you can come out of the car. If the car is still on, and I don't want you to get hurt.
What do you mean you got shot? He's looking for the casings.
Who shot you?
He
The cop
did.
did not shoot you.
He did.
But understandably, this other cop wasn't believing him, as surely Feaster would have said something at this point. And so, the minutes start to pass.
And he
after
dies.
5 full minutes, Feaster continues processing the scene like nothing had happened. With
And
the
then
other
Andrew dies, doesn't he? He dies from bleeding out because these cops don't believe that he was shot.
officer being left to theorize that Andrew must have been seriously injured and was likely in a state of shock, which is why he was making all of these strange claims about being shot.
He may be hurt in there.
Yeah, I know he is. He's in shock at the very least.
From here, the footage cuts, and we're only left
Can we
with the
get an
audio from that
ambulance?
same officer.
I mean, what about the woman on the floor? Why is there nobody checking on the woman on the floor, bro? On the ground, this shit is so crazy, bro. Nobody is even checking on the lady on the ground.
Body cam as he attempts to get more information from Andrew.
Sir, I need you to talk to me so I know you're okay.
Serve and protect.
Take a
Literally.
look at me. Did you bump your head?
But by this point, he had gone completely silent.
Because he died.
10 minutes later, the footage then cuts back on, this time to another officer's body cam, which shows that an ambulance had now finally arrived on the scene, with medics first directing their attention to Darian, who was in the worst shape, as she would
Like, she's on the ground, bro.
tragically be pronounced dead shortly after.
Of course.
But despite all of these first responders on the scene, none of them had any idea that the man inside that vehicle had just been shot, and shot by one of their colleagues. Wow. And in these moments, Andrew was slowly losing his life as each minute passed. It would take 11 full minutes before Feaster finally confessed.
Sir, you hold this scene, Manny, with me. We're going over to the canteen to find out if this guy...
Please tell me Andrew lives. Please, please, please tell me Andrew lives. Please tell me Andrew lives and sues the shit out of the police department, bro. Please.
I wasn't even pointing at him. The gun could go off.
Saying that he might have shot the man, but he wasn't.
Even as the nigga is confessing, he lies. My gun wasn't even pointing at him, but it went off. I think I shot him. Nigga, you know you shot him. Your gun did go off and it was pointed at him. 2 times it went off.
Wasn't sure. And immediately after saying this,
Oh my God, are you serious?
Oh my fucking
the
gosh, are
recording
you
is
serious?
stopped and the footage comes to an end. Sure enough, in that moment, Officer Patrick Feaster had in fact shot Andrew Thomas, with a bullet striking him
Please tell me
directly
he
in
lived.
the neck. And the reason why he wasn't getting out of his vehicle was because that gunshot
In the neck? Feaster, you shot him in the neck and let him just lay there? Oh, that's attempted murder, bro. You shot this nigga in the neck and just let him lay there? Oh my.
had left him fully paralyzed from the neck down.
Oh. Oh my God.
His condition was awful and made worse by the length of time that it took for him
I
to
was just
receive
about to
proper
say, and if they had gotten to it right away, he probably wouldn't have gotten paralyzed. But they let him sit in that. He let him sit in that.
treatment. And despite fighting for weeks, Andrew Thomas would lose his life less than 1 month later due to that gunshot wound. Afterwards, Feaster admitted that he did fire his gun, but claimed that in the moment he wasn't actually sure if he had hit Andrew. But many found this hard to believe, as his gun clearly goes off while he's pointing it at Andrew.
Literally.
And he clearly gets a good view of him immediately after the fact. Not to mention the fact that Andrew literally told him over and over again that he was shot. But for many, by far the most incriminating moment was when Feaster
Started
appeared to be looking for his shell casings.
Yup.
And because of his actions, Officer Patrick Feaster would be found guilty of manslaughter and receive a prison sentence of 180 days.
What? These niggas just get a slap on the fucking wrist, bro. These niggas just get a slap on the fucking wrist. You shot this man, looked at him, saw he was shot in the neck, let him sit there, lied to the police your fellow police officers, lied to first responders, like the ambulance and shit. And then he dies. And you get 180 days.
A decision that was heavily contested but ultimately upheld. And while no one is defending Andrew Thomas's decision to drink and drive that night, Feaster's use of deadly force and his blatant attempt at covering it up make this footage harrowing nonetheless.
I understand the nigga was drunk driving, but bro shot him with no probable cause. Again, like Nick said, he was no threat to him. Both of his hands are on the vehicle climbing out. What is he gonna do? This is not a fucking anime or a superhero movie. He's not gonna just lift up out of the air and then shadow kick you, nigga. He's getting out of the oh my.
I do this for real, bro. I don't got no problem with giving back, man. I'm the only one out here with a show that's actually giving back.
Young QC gives back.
It's May 2013. 23-year-old Qaw'mane Wilson arrives at his local bank in Chicago, Illinois to deposit $20,000 cash, which he planned on giving out to groups of his most adoring fans.
He meant to say withdraw.
About to go get this $1,000 out for the fans, man. Really, I'm gonna take out $20,000, man.
Please don't tell me he gets robbed.
You feel me?
Okay.
I'm on a whole different level with this.
To this point, Qaw'mane had carved out a respectable following on his YouTube channel, where he acted in a series called The Nick Story.
One more word out your mouth, and that's your ass, that's your life. I'm gonna take it myself.
W-skit.
Put it in my graveyard with the rest of them.
Along with posting music he made under the name Young QC.
Out her song, but not until she's. I know she will. I'm gonna.
Not until she's wet.
Based on his viewership alone, his success was apparent, and he wasn't shy about showing off the wealth that he claimed to have accrued as a result of it, posting photos and videos of himself flaunting large amounts of.
Hey, bro, where I grew up, bro, this is a cardinal sin right here. Where I grew up, this is a cardinal sin, bro. And let me tell you why. Because niggas get greedy. Niggas get jealous. Niggas get envious. And you flaunting your money on the internet like this is somebody's gonna fucking rob you. Somebody's gonna kill you to get that money from you. It's
of cash across his social media pages. But this video was by far his most boastful yet, as he would take that $20,000 and throw it into the air for all of his fans to fight over.
Come on, dog.
With Qaw'mane clearly relishing in the opportunity to show off his riches, despite the fact that behind the scenes,
somebody got killed.
Things weren't quite as they seemed.
He got killed. Somebody was plotting to murder him.
The truth was, Qaw'mane had actually earned very little from his channel despite its viewership, with this being on account of his videos containing copywritten music, and the fact that he only had a dozen or so uploads. In fact, his social media flexing had started well before he even made his first video, as in reality, all of this money—
Damn, this is recent, bro. Those are blue bills.
—was coming
They got the blue
straight
stripe on them. This is recent.
Mother, Yolanda Holmes.
Oh no.
Having started a successful business in Chicago, Yolanda made a great living for herself and Qaw'mane, and being her only son—
Oh, come on, man. Your mom fucking makes this money, and you flaunting that shit.
Qaw'mane was given just about anything he could have asked for. She would buy him designer clothes, jewelry, and even the Mustang scene in this video. But for Qaw'mane, it never seemed to be enough. He wanted to achieve a life of fame and riches, and he used his mother's finances to sell the illusion that he already had, asking her again and again to purchase him things that could help him sell this dream, until one day, it all came crashing down, when Yolanda would tragically lose her life.
Fuck. Hell.
Just like that, Qaw'mane's entire support system had fallen out beneath his feet, leaving him without his mother and without the provider who was funding his entire life. But strangely, this didn't seem to stop his lavish online presence. In fact, his spending only seemed to increase after this.
Yeah.
As this footage of him giving away money to fans actually took place after the death of his mother.
Yeah.
Which became extremely off-putting for law enforcement, as Yolanda hadn't simply passed away, and instead, she had been brutally murdered.
Oh my, bro, please don't tell me you murdered your own fucking mother, bro. For her will money.
Qaw'mane had learned something shortly before Yolanda's passing, that not only were his mother's savings entirely willed to him, but she had also taken out 2 life insurance policies, in which
Bro, she bought you everything you wanted, bro. Everything.
he was the sole beneficiary. And despite Yolanda giving him anything that he could have asked for, it seemed that by this point, Qaw'mane had simply grown tired of having to ask. And so, on September 2nd, 2012, he would offer his friend Eugene Spencer $3,500 to kill his own mother.
There are niggas out here. No. Y'all niggas gotta listen to this. Do not skip this shit. There are niggas out here. There are niggas out here who would kill to have a mother buy them whatever the fuck they wanted. There are niggas out here who would kill to have a mother buy them whatever the fuck they wanted. There are niggas out here that would kill to be in the position of having as much money as your mom has or had. And it just wasn't enough for you. So much so that you hired a nigga to kill her. Her life was worth $3,500 to you, bro. Even though she bought you anything you ever wanted, whenever you wanted, her life was worth $3,500 to you.
Eugene accepted the offer, and that night he would travel to the apartment of Yolanda Holmes late at night, where he entered her room and shot her multiple times as she slept. At the time, her boyfriend had been sleeping next to her, and despite jumping up and doing his best to fight off the attacker, Eugene would eventually beat him unconscious before fleeing the scene.
You didn't kill
Eugene
the
would
boy.
call Qaw'mane immediately after the attack to tell him that the job was done.
You
But rather
fucking
than feeling any sort of guilt, Qaw'mane instead had no emotion, and he simply stated, "Make sure the bitch is dead."
This is your mother you're talking about, bro. This is your mother you're talking about. And she bought you anything you wanted whenever. Ungrateful.
And so Eugene went back up to that unit, this time brandishing a knife, and repeatedly stabbed Yolanda until he was absolutely certain she was gone. And with that, Qaw'mane Holmes was a rich man, and it only cost him the life of his own mother. For a moment, the crime had worked perfectly. The police were left with no concrete leads as to who might have killed Yolanda, and the public largely believed that it was her boyfriend, whom Eugene had knocked unconscious. But no one even thought to look at Qaw'mane, and recognizing that he was in the clear, his behavior—
I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. When a rich family member dies, you always look within the fucking family, bro. It's always some devious nigga that was plotting the whole time to get the will money, bro.
behavior grew brazen almost immediately.
That's why, I don't know if y'all ever watched Beauty in the Black by Tyler Perry. Look, bro, Tyler Perry isn't like, his movies and shows aren't amazing, bro, but there's an underlying message to every single one of them. Beauty in the Black, right, is a rich guy who owns a hair care business, and there's all his son's wife, all of these people trying to get his will from him, the money from his will from him. However, they cannot kill him. To get the will, he needs to die of natural causes. If there is any foul play, it voids the will completely and the money goes to nobody. So I think, I know this was before that movie, but I think if you become rich in any way and you have kids and any of that shit, bro, make sure in your will you put, if I die by any foul play, this money goes to nobody. That means they can hate you for as long as they fucking choose. And that money, and they can't kill you. They can hate you for the rest of their lives. And that money is safe if they don't kill you.
Qaw'mane Wilson lost his mother to gun violence on November 14th.
Your life is safe.
My mother, she was a neighborhood woman. A guy entered a home, you know, and murdered.
He doesn't even look sad, bro. If you're gonna kill your mom and try and get away with it, bro, at least cry on camera, bro. At least look sad, bro. This interview happened, what, 2 days after her death?
You know, just to steal.
As he went on TV to talk about his mother's murder, where he peddled the theory to the public that this was some sort of botched robbery. All the while, he showed no emotion.
Exactly.
He wouldn't even wait a full week before depositing the money, as he took out $90,000 within just the first few days, and immediately began showing it off to his followers. And in this footage where he gave away that $20,000, throwing it into the air as if it meant nothing to him, every cent of that had come from the death of his own mother, a death in which he was entirely responsible for. It would take over a full year for Qaw'mane and Eugene to be caught, with police largely being tipped off by his online antics. And in the end, Eugene was given a 100-year prison sentence.
Imagine that, QC. Imagine that, QC. You get one less year than the nigga you hired to do the deed. You get one less year. You're still in there for the rest of your fucking life. I hope that shit was worth it, because you have no access to your money, bitch ass nigga.
While Qaw'mane received 99 years. With his legacy now permanently defined by his creation of one of YouTube's darkest videos.
Nice way to tie it up, Nick. I mean, like,
I want to give one last thank you to this video sponsor, MyHeritage. Use my link down below to get.
Shout out Nick Crowley, bro. This is a great video as always, but bro, QC, you is a dirty, nasty motherfucker, bro. And I hope in those 99 years that you're not even going to live all the way through, I hope you realize that shit was not worth it. Your mom gave you everything you ever wanted whenever you wanted it, and you still did this shit, and still got caught. And now, instead of having all the shit you wanted, all you had to do was just ask your mom for it. Instead of having that luxury, now you're in prison for the rest of your life with $0, bro. Zero. Zilch. Because who's putting money on your books? Think about it. Who's putting money on your books, nigga? Who? Ain't a single person putting money on your books because you murdered your mom. She would probably have been the only person to put money on your books if you went to prison for any other reason. Nigga. No commissary for you, bitch ass nigga.